Good morning students, this is 11th class biology chapter 8 cell the unit of life lecture number 3. Today we will learn about plasma membrane, its structure and function. After that we will also study about types of transport across the plasma membrane and after that cell wall. So let's start with cell membrane, that is also called plasma membrane. So chemical studies on human RBCs show that cell membrane is composed of a lipid bilayer, protein and carbohydrate. So it is about the structure of cell membrane or plasma membrane, you can say. It has been revealed due to chemical studies that red blood cells in human beings are made up of mainly these three components: a lipid bilayer, protein and carbohydrate. Okay, these three parts are there in a plasma membrane. Lipids, mainly phosphoglycerides. So there are different types of lipids. So which type of lipid is mainly found in plasma membrane? Phosphoglycerides. These are most abundant lipids found in plasma membrane. So these phosphoglycerides have outer polar head and inner hydrophobic tails. So these two parts of lipids are there, their polar head and hydrophobic tail. Polar head is on outer side and hydrophobic tail is on inner side. So the non-polar tail of saturated hydrocarbons is protected from aqueous environment. Okay, head is polar but tails are non-polar. Okay, these are hydrophobic. Hydrophobic means water hating, right? So these non-polar tail or water hating tail of saturated hydrocarbons is protected from the aqueous environment because these are hydrophobic. So these will be protected from water environment, you can say, from aqueous environment, right? In this diagram you can see different parts of plasma membrane. Proteins, lipids, all are visible here. So first of all, here in the right corner you can see this lipid molecule which is having polar head or hydrophilic head, you can say, okay, and non-polar or hydrophobic tail. Okay, so these two parts are there in lipid molecule. Now these lipid molecules you see here in this diagram upper side, these lipid molecules are forming a bilayer, right, and tails are on inner side, right? Tails are on inner side because these are hydrophobic, these are water hating. So these are protected from aqueous environment, from or you can say these are protected from water, right? And their head, which are polar head, are on outer side, means towards the water. Now there are different types of proteins present here, like peripheral proteins, integral proteins, okay, which are some of the proteins are making channel here, that's why we are calling them channel proteins. There are some carrier proteins which can carry substances from one side of plasma membrane to the another side of plasma membrane, right? There are glycoproteins which are carbohydrate, you can say carbohydrate moiety, okay. Cholesterol are also present here, some, and so different types of lipids can be present here, okay. So all these components of the plasma membrane you can see in this picture. Ratio of protein and lipid varies in different cells. For example, in human RBC membrane 52% protein and 40% lipids are found. So this ratio can vary in different cells, and based on ease of extraction, means that how a protein can be extracted from the plasma membrane. On the basis of that, membrane proteins are of two types: integral proteins and peripheral proteins. Integral proteins are partially or totally buried in membrane, while peripheral proteins lie on surface of membrane. So you can imagine which protein for which proteins it will be easier to extract, because integral proteins are partially or totally buried in the membrane, so it will be difficult to extract these proteins, right? While peripheral proteins will be easier to extract because these lie on the surface of membrane, right? So these two types of proteins are there. With the arrangement of all these different types of proteins and lipids and carbohydrates, plasma membrane will look like this fluid mosaic model of plasma membrane. Okay, this is having two lipid bilayer, means two layers of lipid. In between there are proteins. Okay, and you can see these sugar and sugar means carbohydrates which are present here, and also these proteins which are present here are of different types. Some are peripheral proteins and some are integral proteins. Now this is called fluid mosaic model of plasma membrane. So let's understand about it. Fluid mosaic model. It was proposed by Singer and Nicholson in 1972. Before them, different models were given for the structure of plasma membrane, but all were discarded due to some limitations. So finally, now we have this fluid mosaic model of plasma membrane given by Singer and Nicholson, and this is an accepted model of plasma membrane structure. According to this model, the quasi-fluid nature of lipid enables lateral movement of proteins within the overall bilayer, because the plasma membrane, in plasma membrane lipids are present, a bilayer of lipid is present, and these lipids are fluid in nature. Okay, due to which lateral movement of proteins is possible within the bilayer. Okay, proteins can move laterally in that bilayer from one side to another side like this. Okay, and this ability to move within the membrane is measured as its fluidity. So we are saying that proteins can move laterally within the membrane. Okay, so that ability to move within the membrane, how it is measured? It is measured as the fluidity of plasma membrane. This is fluid mosaic model of plasma membrane. You can see here, and here these lipid bilayer which is present here. These lipid molecules are quasi-fluid in nature, due to which all these proteins which you can see here, these integral proteins which are present here and also peripheral proteins, these can move laterally within the plasma membrane. Okay, and it can be measured as the fluidity of plasma membrane. Okay, so this is the fluid mosaic model of plasma membrane. Now we will do about the functions of plasma membrane. So first function is to transport the molecules. The membrane is selectively permeable to some molecules present on either side of it. Okay, it allows selectively permeable means it allows only the selected substances to pass across it. Second is due to the fluid nature, because lipid molecules are fluid, quasi-fluid in nature. So due to the fluid nature of plasma membrane, it can help in cell growth, formation of intercellular junctions, junctions between two cells. Okay, and also in secretion and endocytosis, and also in cell division. Endocytosis means cell drinking and cell eating. Okay, some substances can be engulfed by a cell, so that type of movement through the plasma membrane is called endocytosis. And due to the fluid nature of plasma membrane, these endocytosis, secretion, cell division, all these are possible. Here in this diagram you can see that how the substances are passing across the plasma membrane. Okay, because these proteins are present here in this plasma membrane between the lipid bilayers. Okay, so different substances can pass across it. Okay, these are different carrier proteins which can transport the substances from one side to another side of the membrane. So this picture is showing one of the function of plasma membrane. Now types of transport. We are talking about that some plasma membrane is selectively permeable and some selected substances can pass across it. So how these substances are transported across the plasma membrane. So there are two types of transport by which substances can be passed across the plasma membrane, and these are passive transport and active transport. First we will do about the passive transport. Here the movement of molecules across the membrane along the concentration gradient. Along the concentration gradient means from higher concentration to the lower concentration without expenditure of energy. So obviously if any substance is passing we are transporting any substance from its higher concentration to its lower concentration, then there will be no need of energy. Okay, so without expenditure of energy there is transportation of substances. Okay, so that's why we are calling it along the concentration gradient, means from higher to lower concentration. Now this passive transport is of two types, like simple diffusion and osmosis. For what is simple diffusion? Movement of neutral solutes. Okay, these are not charged solutes, these are neutral solutes, so not having any charge. So here movement of neutral solutes occur across the membrane from higher concentration to lower concentration. And in case of osmosis, movement of water occur by diffusion across the membrane. So if we talk about the movement of solutes, then we use the term diffusion, and if we talk about the movement of water across the plasma membrane, then we use the term osmosis. So osmosis is simply diffusion of water across the membrane along its concentration gradient. In this picture you can see the passive transport, that first of all diffusion is shown here. On one side you can see these purple molecules present in more quantity, right? So it is from higher concentration to lower concentration. So more concentration of purple molecules is present on one side of plasma membrane, that's why these are passing towards the other side by simple diffusion without expenditure of any energy. On next here facilitated diffusion is shown, and in facilitated diffusion here there is need of some carrier proteins for transporting the substances from their higher concentration towards the lower concentration. Okay, so some polar molecules cannot pass across the plasma membrane by simply along their concentration gradient. For their movement there is requirement of some special proteins. Okay, so these proteins are called carrier proteins. Okay, and you can see here between the plasma membrane these carrier proteins are present here, and these are taking these molecules from one side of plasma membrane, and these are transported to other side of plasma membrane. So such type of transport is called facilitated diffusion. There is no need of energy, no expenditure of energy is there in facilitated diffusion also, like that of simple diffusion, but there is a requirement of carrier proteins. Next type of transport is active transport, and in active transport movement of molecules across the membrane against the concentration gradient. Against the concentration gradient means from lower to higher concentration. And because the here we need to transport the substances from lower to higher concentration, that's why there is need of energy. That's why it occurs with the expenditure of energy. And in which form this energy is utilized here? In the form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Okay, this is the source of energy in a cell, right? So ATP is utilized here for the transportation of substances from one side of plasma membrane to another side of plasma membrane. For example, sodium potassium pump. Here for the active transport, pumps are present in the plasma membrane. Okay, these are the term pump is used for the proteins which are transporting the substances from lower to higher concentration, right? Here in the diagram also you can see active transport. On the on one side of plasma membrane molecules are present in lower concentration, and from that side only with the expenditure of energy these substances are transported to the other side of plasma membrane. Next topic is cell wall. So cell wall is a non-living rigid structure found on found outer to the plasma membrane of fungi and plants. Okay, so in fungi and plant cells, cell wall is present, and where it is present? It is present on outer side of plasma membrane, as you can see here in diagram. So it is outermost covering in case of plants. Cell wall of algae is made of cellulose, galactans, mannans, and minerals like CaCO3. So this is chemical composition of cell wall of algae. Okay, different composition is there for different cell walls. For cell wall of plant is having some other components, cell wall of fungi is having other components. So these are different compositions of different cell walls. So algae cell wall is made up of all these cellulose, galactans, mannans, minerals like CaCO3, right? In other plants it consists of cellulose, like on higher plants, because algae also come under plant, but here we are talking about some other plants. So there also cell wall consists of cellulose, hemicellulose, pectins and proteins. So you need to learn this composition of algae cell wall and other plant cell wall. Cell wall of a young plant cell, that is called primary wall, is capable of growth. Okay, so a cell wall which is found in a young plant cell is capable of growth, and that is called primary wall or primary cell wall, you can say. It gradually diminishes as the cell matures and the secondary wall is formed on the inner side, means towards the membrane. Okay, if we talk about inner side, it is towards the membrane, and if we talk about outer side, it will be towards the wall, towards the cell wall. So primary cell wall is there in the starting, and it is capable of growth, and with the time, as the plant grows, it diminishes and cell matures, and in place of primary wall there will be formation of secondary wall, and the secondary wall is formed on the inner side of primary wall, you can say. Okay, now the middle lamella is a layer mainly of calcium pectate. So middle lamella is made up of calcium pectate, and it glues the different neighboring cells together. The cell wall and middle lamella may be traversed by plasmodesmata, which connect the cytoplasm of neighboring cells. So plasmodesmata is a type of connection between the cells which connect the cytoplasm of neighboring cells. So you can say these plasmodesmata are present through the cell wall and the middle lamella. Okay, these are traversed through the cell wall and middle lamella, and these are helpful for the connection of cytoplasm of neighboring cells. Now functions of cell wall. First, it gives shape to the cell. Second, it protects the cell from mechanical damage and infection, because it is a hard structure, so it protects the cell from the mechanical damage and infection. Third, it helps in cell to cell interaction. Middle lamella is present there, plasmodesmata is present through it. Okay, so it helps in cell to cell interaction. Also, it acts as barrier to undesirable macromolecules, because macromolecules cannot pass across the cell wall. That's why we can say it acts as a barrier for the harmful macromolecules, the undesirable macromolecules which we don't need inside the cell. So it prevents the entry of those macromolecules inside the cell. Now, based on today's topics, your homework is NCERT question number 6, and also you need to make a well-labeled diagram of fluid mosaic model of plasma membrane. Now let's discuss the homework solution of previous lecture. This is question number 4 of NCERT. Which of the following is correct? A is cells of all living organisms have a nucleus. B. So first tell about this. Is this correct? Cells of all living organisms have a nucleus. So you know, in prokaryotic cells, nucleoid is present there. Okay, proper nucleus-like structure is not there. That's why we can say this is not correct. Okay. Second statement is both animal and plant cells have a wall-defined cell wall. No, because in animal there is no cell wall, right? So this is also incorrect. Statement C is in prokaryotes there are no membrane bound organelles. So this is correct statement, right? In prokaryotes membrane bound organelles are not present. Statement D is cells are formed de novo from abiotic material. So this statement is also incorrect, because you know cells are formed from pre-existing cells. Okay, these are not formed de novo from abiotic materials. Fifth question of NCERT is, what is a mesosome in a prokaryotic cell? Mention the function that it performs. So mesosome is a unique membranous structure that is formed by extensions of plasma membrane, or you can say enfolding of plasma membrane form the structure that is called mesosome in prokaryotic cell. Now let's discuss the function of mesosome. So first, they help in cell wall formation. Second, they help in DNA replication and distribution to daughter cells, means chromosome or genetic material distribution to daughter cells. They also help in respiration by increasing the surface area of the plasma membrane. Also, they help in secretion process to increase the surface area of plasma membrane and enzymatic content also. Next is question number 8 of NCERT. What are the characteristics of a prokaryotic cell? So the answer is, first characteristic is the nuclear membrane is absent in prokaryotic cell and the genetic material is not enclosed by an envelope. So if the nuclear membrane is absent, so we can say genetic material is not enclosed. The necked DNA, or you can say the necked genetic material, is found to be coiled in the cytoplasm and it is referred to as nucleoid, or it can also be called xenophore. Next characteristic is prokaryotic cells lack membrane bound organelles and membrane bound nucleus. Okay, so all membrane bound organelles are absent here. Cell lumen is filled with a fluid known as cytoplasm. Next is prokaryotic cell wall acts as a layer of protection and help in maintaining cell shape. After that, we can say that ribosome is the only cytoplasmic organelle that is found in prokaryotic cells, and you know 70S type of ribosome is present in prokaryotic cells.